Welcome back to Film Grind. I'm Shawn Burkett, and I will be your host as we take the journey into the ins and outs of the independent film industry. Now, before we get started, I would like to apologize for the lack of content. Pandemic, making movies, hectic life. But enough about that. Let's talk about creating a budget for your film. Now, everyone will approach this in different ways. Some people will write a script first and go from there. Some people will have a budget before they even start writing. I tend to kind of use a mixture of both. It's like this weird Frankenstein fashion. And keep in mind, I didn't go to film school. I could be completely wrong about all this, but these are the things that have worked for me. Oh, and this is based off of shooting a film in 10 days. So let's get started. First, you will need to break down your script. And you will basically break these things down between cast, lodging, props, effects, locations, food, and crew. But not necessarily in that order. Let's go cast, locations, props, effects, lodging, food, and crew. Anything else like set design usually comes out of my pocket, but feel free to add that to your list. At this point, I will set a dollar amount to what I want to spend each one of those categories. When it comes to cast, I generally tend to pay lead actors more than supporting characters. And that's mainly because they're going to be on set a lot more. And depending on what type of film you're making, a role may require nudity. I generally tend to compensate those actors or actresses a little bit more. I mean, I'd want more money. Moving on. So next we have locations. I generally over budget because there's no guarantees unless you're filming in a motel. But I like to average that each location will cost a minimum of $200 a day. But to be honest, I've never paid over $100 a day, so it's nice to have that extra budget just in case something goes wrong. Because generally something will go wrong on set, whether it be a malfunctioning cord, you need a new light bulb, or just something goes wrong and you have to pull something out of nowhere. It's always better to have it and not need it. For effects and props, I generally do some research first, either on Amazon or YouTube to see if it's something I can either buy or create for rather cheap. I will then go and talk to my effects team and then we'll kind of flesh out a budget. But I generally like to add an extra $200 to whatever that budget may be, just in case. This next part sometimes can be doubled. But no matter what, make sure you have permission first. And that's right, we're talking about lodging. I generally like to use Airbnb just for the fact that sometimes you'll find a cool property owner who is 100% down with you making your movie on their property. But there are strict rules with Airbnb, and sometimes they just don't want you filming on their property. So make sure you get written permission or screen cap your emails. But nevertheless, I break down how many days will be needed for the project. That way I know how many people I have to lodge and for how many days. But generally, I have found that Airbnb is a cheaper way to lodge people versus hotels or anything else. But if you are working with some cool people who are down to just film, you may be lucky enough to find a campground, or they'll be fine just pulling up a space on your floor, which then at that point saves money. This next one is important. Food. Everyone gets hangry. Food can keep a production on its toes. I've been on productions with catering that cost thousands of dollars. I've also been on productions that set out deli trays and snacks. The theme of things is that food will keep people going. Food is fuel. You don't want your talent running on empty. You especially don't want your crew running on empty. So if you do have the budget for catering, I highly recommend it. It takes a lot of stress off of you. You don't have to worry about if food's going to be on time. You don't have to worry about finding somebody to make food. It's just, it's a time saver. And like I said, it just takes a load off of you. But if that's not in your budget, this is where you enlist the help of your friends, your family, and you come up with a meal plan to be able to feed everybody accordingly. Macaroni and cheese, hot dogs, hamburgers, potato salad, chips, drinks, anything that will help keep your people going. But also, I've been on a lot of productions to where we have gotten donations from like grocery stores or things like that. So definitely look into your community for additional help. And at this point, you will also have to see if anybody has any food allergies or dietary restraints. So be sure you do that as well. And last, but certainly not least, crew. They are worth their weight in gold. Pay them. Because damn it, do they deserve it. If you've never been crew on a film, I highly suggest you go do it for even a day. Try to keep up. You'll understand why I am all about paying the crew. Crew to me is the backbone of any production. They are, like I said, worth their weight in gold. And that's why I tend to pay them a little more. First off, I tend to pay my camera op or director of photography a minimum of $400 to $500. This person is carrying the film literally on their shoulders or on themselves, depending on what kind of rig. They're lugging a camera around, making sure everything looks nice and in focus. This isn't a place to be stingy. Next is audio, and I generally pay them the same amount as my camera op or DP. They're taking off work. They are there. They are dedicated to your film, and they are equally as important to how the outcome of your film will be. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I've ever paid anyone to just strictly be a gaffer. That kind of falls in the job description of camera op or director of photography, in my opinion, because they're in charge of the way your film's gonna look. So generally my DP will tell somebody on crew to move a light here, move a light there, and that's how we get stuff done. Next we have PAs, production assistants. I love PAs. We have one PA that we generally use a lot. He is just he's a workhorse. He is phenomenal. I can't say that I've ever paid a PA until maybe this last production. Technically, if you want to look at that way, it was his birthday, and we had heard him talking about how he didn't have a record player or any vinyls, and I collect vinyls, so I was like, we must do something about this. So everybody chipped in, and we got him a record player and a couple vinyls for his birthday. Yeah. So I guess we're gonna have to start paying him now. So that, in a nutshell, is how I create a budget. It has worked for me multiple times, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. So if you have any questions or comments, please let them be known below. But other than that, until next time, I'm Shawn Burkett, and thank you for visiting.